If you talk about my technology stack, I have been currently working into Spring Boot microservices. On the database side, we are using MongoDB, and if for inter-service communication, we are using Kafka over here. And apart from this, I also have exposure to Docker, Git, Jenkins, REST as well.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. All right. So, how many years you had experience in the Spring Boot and microservices?
Yeah, so with microservices, actually, I'm working from the past 2 years. With Spring Boot, I have around 3 years, 3.5 years of experience.
Okay. All right. So, which version of Java are you currently working on?
Yeah, we are working on Java version 8.
So, what are the features you added to 1.8 and top of 7?
Yeah, so basically, the main features that have been included as part of 1.8 is functional interfaces, Lambda expressions, Stream API. Apart from this, they have introduced optional and this datetime API.
So, can I have an example where Lambda function can be used?
Yeah, so basically they are used for implementation of abstract methods that are there in functional interfaces. So suppose you have a method into functional interface whose implementation you want to provide. So you can use basically lambdas for that case. So these are actually anonymous method definitions, methods where you can define your functionality basically.
Okay. So, what is parallel streams and where can we use it? Parallel streams.
Yeah, so parallel streams are basically, kind of stream which actually runs into parallel, which performs parallel processing. You can use it over collections itself, and for different kind of, processing that you actually want to be done in, in parallel. Basically, so basically there is a parallel method into stream which can be used, and you can actually, you can process certain things which are independent of each other, which can be processed into parallel basically.
Okay. All right. So, what is the difference between hash table and hash map?
Yeah, so hash map is actually not synchronized, whereas sorry, hash table is synchronized in nature. Apart from this, hash table, in hash table you cannot store any null value, whereas in hash map you can store null as you can store null key once, and multiple null values you can have.
Okay. So, which one maintains the insertion order, hash map or hash table?
Yeah, so I think hash table will actually maintain this insertion order. Not exactly sure, but hash map certainly doesn't, I think, actually maintain the insertion order.
So, what is the linked hash map?
Yeah, so I think a linked hash map will maintain the insertion order. That will be in form of basically linked list. That is another implementation of map interface, and that will be in form of linked list. Basically, there will be multiple nodes which can store key value pairs.
Okay. So, I have an integer primitive value. I want to convert it into string. So, how do we do that?
You can use string dot value of method.
So, what is the difference between toString and value of functions?
Okay. ToString actually calls the string implementation that is there in string class, or you can have your custom implementation for ToString as well. But I think if it is null, then it will throw null pointer. Like if you suppose have any like integer, okay, for example variable. If it is null and you do a dot toString, it will throw null pointer exception. Whereas if inside string dot value of you provide something as null, so that will at least return null and will not actually throw null pointer. That is why we prefer string value of method.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between authentication and authorization?
Yeah, so authentication is something like if a user is providing username and password, for instance, so if he is allowed to access that system or not, this is something related to authentication. And apart from this, like we have user groups, we have admin, we have certain consumers. So authorization is something that what all actually a user is allowed to access, basically. Like for admin, looks like most of the things are accessible, so he is authorized to actually access all the things. And for suppose user, you have certain modules that are only accessible, rest are not accessible for a role type user. So in that case, that user will actually be able to access only, he will be actually restricted based on his authority to access rest of the things. So that is something as authorization.
So have you used any, authorized plugins like JWT or OAuth or such?
No, actually, I haven't got a chance to work on this authentication and authorization part, honestly speaking.
Okay. So how do we maintain the security for our application?
Yeah, so in our case, we are actually using Spring Security for that. We do have like with every request we are actually providing the bearer tokens to authenticate the user or the request that is coming from UI or some third party APIs basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So have you worked on any support projects as such?
Basically, I was working into a support based product for around 6 months. I have worked over here for bug fixing majorly.
So usually, what kind of issues you are getting at the time of working on operations support?
Yeah, so generally they are more of issues from the customer. So suppose there is some upgrade that we pushed basically to our production environment, and because of some lack of testing, basically that was not completely initially, those things, some corner case scenarios were hit. So at that particular time we had certain issues like there is something like suppose for example bad data was the most into that, because that is a legacy application and there were actually a lot of features that were there. So yeah, bad data was one of the issue basically majorly we used to encounter. Apart from this, there were issues like they had different kind of plans for the health and insurance benefits. So at times there were issues that plans were not properly coming into certain situations for some organizations. So these kind of issues basically we used to have.
Okay. So what are the databases did you work on?
Yes, I have worked on majorly MongoDB itself.
MongoDB. So how did you integrate the MongoDB into a Spring Boot application?
Yeah, so for integrating MongoDB into a Spring Boot application, we usually like for every we call tables as collections over there. So for every collection, we do have entity classes, and it follows document kind of structure. Like it basically has documents into which you can store the entire data into JSON format. So majorly what happens is we do have like into our application or properties, We have a couple of key value pairs. We actually tell the host name onto which that particular MongoDB is running, and we have to connect to. Apart from this, the port and the basically database name into which the collections and everything has to be created. Apart from this, we create the entities for the models that actually has to be created onto the database. And apart from this, we have Mongo configuration as well, into which we configure, okay, these are the repositories that we have to enable, and also configure the data sources over there, if in case you have multiple data sources. Apart from this, we do have the DAO layer and this repository itself, which basically we extend the Mongo repository over there. We have similar implementations like for JK repository, etc. You can extend that, implement that, that is an interface, and provide the collection over there onto which you have to actually operate, and for which that repository is there along with the key, basically the IT field of that repository. And it actually provides you with certain default methods like save, update, delete, find by id, something like that. So mostly most of the methods are there. However, if you want to provide something custom, you want some custom query, you can also use @query annotation and provide the query into double quotes. That will also work.
Okay, all right. So when if I want to get the data from two documents, so how do you get that?
So that document, if it is inside the same database, so in that case, you can use different repositories. Like suppose if it is document A, document B, you can configure two different repositories and get the data from there, if it is inside the same DB. If the database is different, you will have to configure two different data sources for that, basically into your application, primary and secondary data sources, basically.
Okay. Do you have any front-end tools?
Sorry, please come again.
Have you worked on any front-end technologies?
No, honestly speaking, I haven't actually worked on any front end related technologies, but we do have UI in Angular, so I am actually not very much aware of it, but yeah, I have a little bit of awareness about it.
All right. So what about design patterns do you come across till now?
Yeah, so basically for design pattern, we have used factory design pattern. Apart from that, we have used singleton as well, and we have also used prototype too.
So do you know where that design pattern can be used?
Yeah, so prototype is basically used. Suppose you want to, if you talk about Spring, so whenever by default the scope is singleton, but in case you want, every time you do a get bean, you want a different, the initial instance of that, a new instance. So that in that case we use prototype. Apart from this, prototype is generally used when you want you want creation of object. If you are creating like some, you want similar objects. Suppose if there is some application, so every time you reload the application, so there is, suppose for example, there is an object like school. It has different kind of classes, and every teacher associated with that class. So you want an object of school every time your application does get any kind of object. So for that you will always have to create school object again and again. So prototype design pattern is used. So suppose you are getting that entire school data from the database, basically, and then creating that object. So it actually takes a lot of time to go to the database and fetch all the data and create the object. So what you can do is, you can use cloning for that purpose. So we usually use the depends on your requirement. You can use this deep cloning, or you can use shallow cloning for that. So based on that we create objects which actually from one object you can clone different set of objects based on your requirement.
Right. So that's it for mine. You have any questions for me?
Yeah, I would just like to know, so suppose in case I get through, so what kind of a project and technology stack is